Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to Spider History with JR. We've got George on the line. We're waiting for JR to click on the link as we join the show and say his name like Beetlejuice, and he shall appear. Here is JR. What's going on, sir?
All right, I am ready to go.
Are you? So last month we tackled the first 5 issues of Maximum Carnage. George politely bowed out, which I understand. Are you sad about that, George?
George didn't bow out. George went to bed. And honestly, I don't know that I'm going to make the second show tonight. I'm going to try, but I am drained.
I understand. So we're going to start with part 6 of 14. Oh, hold on. I got the wrong tab. Let me do this real quick. There we go. So we're starting in web 102. There we go. Beautiful looking Alex Savick art on the cover. You got Demogoblin, Carnage, Morbius, Shriek, Doppelganger, and Venom. Oh, and Spider-Man on the cover. Take me through part 6.
Yeah, just coincidentally, Spider-Man is appearing in his own magazine.
Yeah, there you go.
Surprise. All right, as we begin, I want to recap some of the caveats I made from the previous episode.
Okay.
Before we go full tilt. First of all, I know, of course, that how successful Maximum Carnage was for Marvel over the last 30 years.
Yeah.
3 trade editions, a hugely popular video game, which many people found even before they realized that there was a comic book behind this, toy releases, and a lot of Spider fans who aren't blind to this maxi series and its weaknesses and problems, but still love it as a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
So
I'm one of those.
Writers and artists are still getting residual checks from the reprints. It's still talked about with considerable passion. 30 years, almost 30 years later.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this thing has been out for 30
years? Yes.
So, and yes, I know it is a friggin' comic book.
Adam is asking, did he miss the first installment? It was May's Spider History. So if you go back and listen, look on your podcast player and also our YouTube channel, you can see the recording of May. So
and on the Pandoras too.
Yeah, it's on Pandora, Spotify, and any podcatcher. It's got the crawl space.
It's like Visa. It's everywhere you want to be now.
That's because Maximum Carnage was too big and too epic of a story to be contained in one podcast. It has to go over 3 podcasts. This is merely 2 of 3, boys and girls, because the story cannot be contained in just one.
It could. I could do that.
Well, yeah, it could, but it won't.
I could absolutely encapsulate it in one episode, and it would take me a minute. It sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, but you can't just you can't get to the depth of its awfulness in just one episode.
There's not a lot of depth here, JR. There's just a lot of awful.
Mary is super excited to hear JR's complete Maximum Carnage. I am too, Mary. Wankman, what's going on, man?
Maybe we'll do a trade of all three podcasts together.
And we'll put them out for the next 30 years.
I think I will be dead by then, but anyway.
Anyway, take me through this Terry Kavanaugh book. I just wanted to trigger George.
I'm fine. I got my Cheez-Its. I'm good.
All right. Let me take a swig of Mountain Dew.
Got a nice splash page here, JR. Look at Morbius going after these guys.
You mean Jared Leto?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So anyway.
Thinking
the issue opens. You're a little bit ahead of me there.
Oh, sorry.
The issue opens with large parts of Manhattan, downtown Manhattan, literally burning to the ground, while Carnage 2, Malcolm McBride, drifts through the blood-stained streets.
There you go.
All right. We see a bunch of punks attacking a pregnant woman while Morbius, the living vampire, is watching over her, which then turns into a 2-page spread of Morbius attacking the punks.
Yeah.
But
look at that.
What strikes me most about this is that before Morbius joined the action, he made sure he stopped off and got himself a manicure, because look at those blood red nails.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like a Bon Jovi song, blood red nails on his fingertips.
Adam
Anyway.
says that looks like Hot Topic Joker.
So anyway,
Maximum Carnage, the JR cut, says Hornacek.
So Morb is nothing if not a man with style. So anyway, well, naturally, since these are vicious punks, we don't care that Morbius uses them for a little light snack, and while he's choking down some red corpuscles, he finds out that he's being watched by Venom, Cloak, and the Black Cat, as Cloak and Venom are trying to recruit him to the cause. Meanwhile, Peter is dealing with his, turn to the page. What's he dealing with, Brad? What he was?
I'm just getting there.
Getting there.
Oh, I remember his ribs. He's
dealing with his cracked ribs.
Oh, his ribs. Look at that. Looks like he's on the can right there. Poor guy.
Yeah, he actually kind of does look like he's on the can. It's like he needs some. He needs some spider vegetables.
Looks like he just went to Chipotle.
Yeah, he's bound up with symbiote.
He's got the runs and whatever. What was it they were giving? E. coli. What was it with the?
I don't remember.
Chipotle. Yeah. Botulism. They had
something. Yeah, you're right. There was something going on. They had to shut him down for a day or something. But anyway, and let me hearken back to last podcast when Brad asked when Hornacek, I believe, our boy Hornacek said, "Hey, didn't Mary Jane go to a party or something while this was all going on?" Okay, next page, Brad.
I'm getting there. Let's see. Did Mary Jane go to a party during Maximum Carnage? Let's find out. Boom! Loose hips and stamina, she says.
Hornacek, once again, has proven to be a master of precognition or whatever. So
she's smoking at this point?
She's still smoking. Well, are you talking about literally smoking a cigarette, or are you talking about is she smoking hot?
Cigs.
Oh, okay. Or are you talking about, or should we use the English term for them?
No, we should not.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so Mary Jane, who got in an argument with Peter over his being Spider-Man again, is out dancing with other men at a nightclub in Midtown Manhattan. Okay, so Midtown Manhattan. All right. Now, of course, the last 5 issues, I mean, of course, we know what's been going on. Now, Manhattan is a pretty big island, but it's not so big that downtown can be on fire and no one will notice in Midtown. Okay. Right. And of course, and see, Mary Jane is not just at any club. She's at a club called The Deep. And it's this club's opening night.
Oh, man.
And look at the crowds there.
Look at that.
Paparazzi are there. Yeah. Okay. It's packed to the gills. And then all of a sudden, the frightful 4 of Carnage, Shriek, the Demogoblin, and Doppelganger strike.
Woo.
Now, the point I made last time, a number of times in the podcast, is that this city would be under martial law. Yeah. The National Guard would be out, the military would be out, there'd be tanks in the street, as well as other superheroes. No one would be out. No, nothing would be open. I mean, come on. Nothing was open in light of Hurricane Sandy. Nothing was open when the coronavirus struck or whatever. And an event like this would literally draw these monsters out to come and play.
I mean, literally, when we saw that picture of Carrion, it looked like he was in No Man's Land from Batman.
Yep.
Remember when the earthquake hit Gotham? Yep. I mean, it looked bad. And then you flash to somewhere else in the city, and it's like, life is going on as normal. I'm like, nah, that's not how this would go down.
That's not exactly. No, exactly. And that's the thing. It's just, I mean, they've slaughtered hundreds of people by now. And yet there's this party going on in Midtown, Mary Jane's out dancing and crap. Yeah. The FF and Avengers are out of town, which we'll find out. But, so anyway, this is, it's one of those where, there's certain things you're willing to accept. Am I willing to accept evil alien symbiotes from outer space? Absolutely. Am I willing to accept radioactive bitten teenagers who turn into Spider-Man? Absolutely. well, am I willing to accept that a nightclub is open and full of people in the midst of utter catastrophe? Absolutely not. So
Props to Carnage though for murdering random club douchebags.
absolutely, I mean, it's like as long as he doesn't get our redheaded,
It's God's work he's doing.
Check out this guy with the shades,
removing people from the gene pool.
and the beard over here.
yeah. Carnage needs to get that guy. Carnage needs to get that guy.
Yeah.
So anyway, we quickly switch to Spider-Man lifting a car off an injured civilian, and we get our second hint. Okay, that
There we go.
Oh yeah, here we go. But go up just a little bit, Brad. Just a little bit.
There you go.
Spider-Man, see, emergency authorities are right behind me, buddy. You'll be okay. Situation's under control, Spider-Man. Okay, emergency authorities. Who says that?
Yeah.
Not the cops, not the military, not the army, not SHIELD, the emergency authorities. And who is that? I mean, come on. Emergency where were they? Where were they 5 issues ago? Anyway. Well, our band of merry men and one woman, this superhero that is, make it to the nightclub. And after how many pages of fights? Okay. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's page 10 of the fight. All right, a full page jobby there. Okay, 10, 11, 12. All right, and and then finally they all get away. Okay, the bad guys all run away. So anyway, literally half of this comic, that you paid a grand total of $1.25 for, boys and girls. Which, I know, boy, it was cheap there. What are you griping about?
No, listen, back in but in 1990s money, that was different.
Yeah. And so anyway, half of this issue is one long fight of just nothing. Just a bunch of, slapping around or whatever.
Mary says at this point, with all the Marvel events, New York City's been taken over on a weekly basis, so no one flinches anymore, which is probably true. They've survived Galactus. I
know the world outside your door, boys and girls.
And just the previous year, they got snapped in half by Thanos. So
maybe there's like a villain, kind of like there's weather advisory. Maybe they have that for villains in the Marvel universe. Like
this is a
what's the
Carnage
current level? Like 1 is maybe like Absorbing Man broke out of jail, and then 5 is like Galactus. Maybe like 3 is the Scrolls. Scrolls are out.
What do you think this one is? Is this a 2 or a 3?
This should probably be this might be a 3 or 4. I mean, this is
big.
This is actually fairly big, but like JR said earlier, a lot of the stuff outside of what's going on here doesn't react that way.
Yeah. Well, one of the casualties though of the fight is Morbius's manicure, because his nails are no longer blood red. If you go through there, there's just so much.
Hang on. Go back one panel, Brad. Go back one panel, or 2 panels now. Go back 2 panels.
This one.
All right. Yeah. See, scroll to the left. Okay. See how the people are like one color?
Yeah.
Like in the foreground? It's like there was so much going on in this issue. The colors eventually was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make like the non-heroes. I'm just gonna make them one color, like they're in the background, like this is an EC comic or something like that. Because I've got way too much to color.
But so anyway, Morbius loses his manicure. Mary Jane gets knocked out. And then I have to ask, I'm thinking, but as I'm reading this and I'm thinking, boy, it's taking 10 pages or whatever, and I keep thinking, George, if Stegron were in this fight,
this wouldn't have gone 14 issues, or 30 issues, or however long it was. 14 issues. This wouldn't have gone 14 issues. This would have been 1 issue, and there'd be a lot of dead people on his tail. He'd have turned half of New York into like primitive apes, and the other half into reptiles, and just had them fight it out.
Yeah. So, well, for some inexplicable reason, because all the villains are just talking about how much they love fighting, but then they decide to bail and run away. So Spider-Man and friends help the people in the club, and then Spider-Man says, because remember, at the end of issue number 5, Spider-Man. We had a last page, one panel of Spider-Man saying, "I'm not going to take it anymore." He's doing his best. Albert Finney. Was it Albert Finney
from Network?
No, it wasn't Albert Finney.
I'm mad as hell.
Yeah. Wasn't Albert Finney.
That wasn't Albert Finney.
No, I'm trying to remember who that was.
I can't think of it.
I can find out real quick.
Yeah. But anyway, he was mad as hell. He's not going to take it anymore. If you're going to be savage, I'm going to be savage. I'm going to blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Well, anyway, so when the fight's over, Spider-Man says, "Well, Venom, I'm with you all the way now. But Morbius and I have bad blood between us. So, Morbius, you just stay away from me."
That was Peter Finch as Howard Beale.
There you go.
Thank you. So anyway, I'm willing to work with you, Venom, but you keep Morbius away from me. Oh, whatever. And basically Venom says, "Oh yeah, you're so tough, Spider-Man. Well, you can help if you can keep up with us." And Spider-Man is thinking, "Oh, how low do I have to sink now that Venom doesn't even trust me?" Well, why would he? Why would anyone trust you, Peter? All you've done is whine. You just sit there in the background while New York getting torn up. You're, whining and wagging your finger and telling Venom, "Don't be mean. Don't be mean." Of course, nobody's going to listen.
Is wanting to know who did the art. It was the great, underrated Alex Savick. Love his art.
Who is willing to do commissions for you of up, down, Spider-Man,
I'm looking at it right now.
Jane, if you're willing to pay the price.
So, I did. Beautiful.
So, anyway, so the issue ends for the second time in a row with Spider-Man talking about just how tough he's going to be. 6 down, 8 to go.
Okay. The next one is Amazing Spider-Man 379. Let me pull this up, JR.
All righty.
And what would your grade be for that one? I mean, can you grade these or?
I'm not going to grade these individually because they're all crap. I mean, it's kind of, it'd be D minus, variations of D's. They're just not.
This isn't quite personally.
Yeah, it's not quite personally offensive yet because, it's just it's stupid, but it's not Dan Slott kind of offensive. Not quite.
It's like over half of like 3/4 of this is literally just the same issue over and over again.
It is. I mean, it really is.
It came out in the summer. It came out in the summer I graduated, which was 1993. This is a big movie blockbuster in the vein of Independence Day. I mean, it's just mindless fun is what this is, in my opinion.
It's not. Well, I was about to say you're being you're being pretty hard on Independence Day if you're comparing Maximum Carnage to this.
I like this better than Independence Day, actually. All right, so we got Bagley on art. Who's writing this? Is this Michelinie?
Yep, this is Michelinie. Yeah. The one guy who's willing to come out and admit that it wasn't his best days. In fact, I don't think he lasts much longer after this event, by the way. I think he's done by within the next year. So anyway, so all the Spider-Man and friends now have gathered at the Brooklyn orphanage where Cletus Cassidy grew up. And Black Cat's, why are we here? Well, it might spark some ideas, says Spider-Man. But then Venom and the Black Cat think of the Fantastic Four. Hey, Venom says Reed Richards has a sonic gun that kind of tickles. Maybe we ought to use that on Venom. Or on Carnage. And Black Cat says, yeah, we could recruit the Human Torch because symbiotes don't like fire. And Spider-Man says, the Fantastic Four are out of town. The Avengers too. So, we'll just take care of that. Oh, but Firestar might be a good substitute.
Yeah, get some Iceman in there too.
Firestar. How does he know that Firestar is in town? That it's like, Mary Jane went dancing, so he just went out trolling for redheads?
No, nope. He's hung out with the New Warriors, the heroes of the 90s. Come on.
How does he know that Firestar's in town? He knows the Avengers are out of town.
You know what? I mean, okay, I got it.
Oh.
She's an amazing friend. He knows when an amazing friend is in town.
So Iceman's not in town then.
He's
because
not.
we don't hear about the X-Men at all during this. The X-Men are supposed to be up in Westchester, That's where Ravencroft is, right? And so, but so they do all that. The Carnage breaks out of Westchester. Do the X-Men give a care? No, not at all. Killing just a bunch of So anyway, so maybe Firestar will help. All right, Firestar, the knockoff superhero invented for a mediocre cartoon that Brad Douglas thinks is so.
You did not.
Hey, after taking on
Say
Secret
that
Wars,
to her face.
come on, I did a whole podcast ripping Secret Wars. You think I'm going to let up on Firestar?
JR, you're going to let him insult Amazing Friends? Come on.
George, he's in deep thought.
George, are you okay?
I think Dagger's light is blinding him, because Dagger's light will come in handy much later in the story. So I think it was Dagger's light. So anyway, so Cloak says, "Okay, yeah, I'm a relatively worthless C-list superhero, so we know how to find each other as worthless C-list superheroes. So I'll go get her." All right. So he disappears, and Spider-Man thinks, "Wait a minute, doesn't Cloak need Dagger to teleport?" JR, you have no soul.
Yes. JR, you beat up Brad. JR crushed Brad's childhood. Look, they're finally off Team JR for a change. Welcome back, gang. I'm glad.
You know why JR has no soul? Because after 30-something years of marriage, my wife has slowly sucked it out of me. So
Hornacek says George is asleep with his eyes open for Maximum Carnage.
So anyway, so Spider-Man's thinking it's weird that Cloak can just teleport away without Dagger, but she's dead, right?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, Morbius, meanwhile, is on a mission to Ravencroft to look up information on Shriek, and of course, in addition to being a vampire, a biologist, Morbius is also an expert computer hacker, because he can clearly turn on and log into a computer for which he has no authorization. And not only that, he finds a file on Shriek right away without having to look through the file directory. And Brad, how does he type? Come on, bring it up. Bring up one of the panels if you can.
How do you type with those nails?
How do you type?
And
there's actually another panel. Keep going.
Okay. Let's see. It goes to the computer.
Yeah, and then
there he goes. That's how he types. What the?
Jeez. All right. So anyway, he finds the file, and he says, "Well, I can print this out, but I can't get it to anybody yet because the sun is coming up, and I've got to find, I got to go in for my good day's sleep." And you know what? The file that he prints out, never appears in the rest of the story. He goes there for absolutely nothing. The file never materializes one way or the other.
Well, they killed 2 pages.
Wow, that's shocking. And a story that this long and bloated that they'd forget key details.
So the Carnage gang are now hanging out at the New York Metropolitan Museum, being the art critics that they are. And of course, they're bickering. But an extreme emergency team of the NYPD burst in. And this extreme emergency team is specifically created to handle crud like them. Well, it only took 7 issues now for this so-called extreme emergency team to break in or to show up. But then it just takes carrying a panel, Carrion joins a fracas, and the bad guys easily take care of this so-called extreme emergency team.
Yeah, they're done.
So I almost wonder, because these people, because the authorities are so irrelevant, I keep thinking, well, maybe editorial is saying, guys, you at least got to make some kind of oblique reference. But then again, that would give assume that editorial actually is paying attention to the story, which I don't believe they are. So anyway, back in Soho, Mary Jane has conveniently gone home from partying and from getting, having debris fall on her and being rescued by Spider-Man and lecturing Peter. So she's gone in, that's pretty well wore her out. So she went back for a good night's sleep. changed into a bathrobe or PJs or whatever, and Liz Allen knocks on the door.
Uh-oh.
Wondering if MJ wants to have breakfast with her. Mary Jane replies, "Sorry, Liz, I was out late last night and just need to rest, okay?" Liz says, "Okay, call us if you need us."
Oh. Yeah.
Now, Soho is in between downtown and midtown. Soho literally means south of Houston Street. It's that anyway, so Soho's in between downtown and midtown. And as we saw last issue, downtown was on fire. The Carnage gang was tearing up midtown, but Soho is this little island of tranquility where nothing's going on. Because Liz Liz is not in a panic. She's not knocking on the door going, Mary Jane, are you there? Are you okay? The whole city's a madhouse. We should all be getting out of here. I got a son to think of. Maybe we got to go. Maybe we should go to Jersey. God help us all, but we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But no, it's Mary Jane. You want to have breakfast? No? Okay. Well, call us if you need us.
We padded some more out, didn't we?
But no, it's just crazy. It's like the island is on. Literally, the island is on fire. The city's on fire. It's in chaos. It's being destroyed. And yet Liz just. I guess she's, she went out to get some legal paper signed, and now she's wanting to know if Mary Jane wants. She's not panicking or nothing just because a massive wave of death is heading their way.
The chat is confused that Mary Jane is not pulling a knife on Liz.
She was thinking about it.
Yeah. So it's like, Mary Jane has a knife in this next panel. Talk a bit about that, JR.
Well, here's the thing. When this story started, Peter had agreed, to give up being Spider-Man for a week. Okay, well, naturally, this catastrophe happened. So Mary Jane has spent the last several issues furious with Peter, because he didn't give up, he didn't keep his promise to give up being Spider-Man a week. Mm-hmm. But instead, he's out fighting the wave of bizarre violence that's sweeping the city. Yeah, he is, because nobody else is. Come on. The Fantastic Four didn't show up. It's not like an army of superheroes showed up and he would have been incidental. There's no other superheroes. It's Black Cat, and Cloak and Dagger's dead. Remember? So it's so Mary Jane is so mad at him because he's trying to hold back a tidal wave of murder. So, the selfish bureaucracy. So, Mary Jane's thinking, well, my husband's not around. He's out trying to save thousands of people's lives. But I got this knife here. That'll really work when, they come after me. And, oh, by the way, I really want to kill Liz. But see, that's not important now because, see, we have a new player coming into the...
we do.
We do. Well, first of all, though, okay, we got Deathlock. I was about to say. We got Deathlock. Okay, now...
There he is.
I don't understand. Who is this Deathlock? Okay, first of all...
he's like a cyber assassin.
No, I know. But I remember...
This is Deathlock 2.
When he was Luther Manning, a soldier who was killed in battle,
right,
and his rotting corpse was fitted with cybernetic parts, and he wandered around in nightmarish New York City in the future year of 1990. All right.
This is not. I don't.
So who the heck is this guy?
This is the second one that came off the 90s ongoing series, and they introduced him in like a 4-part graphic novel.
But no, he was
Michael
in the
Collins.
future.
Is that it?
He was in the future.
That ongoing he did was actually pretty good.
It was written by Dwayne McDuffie, I think.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Now, the original Deathlock showed up in Tales to Astonish, and it was an interesting premise. Which, after several years, I had a chance to read it, and unfortunately, it's not very good. It pretty well wastes a pretty decent premise. But anyway, so I've never understood who all these other Deathlocks are, because to me, it's Luther Manning fighting cannibals and zombies, and the werewolf and Sergeant Riker, or whatever his name was, in the year
Commander
1990. Yeah, Commander Riker. All right. Well, Deathlock, because he's a human computer here, he's monitoring information at a speed no human could hope to match.
You know,
right?
maybe Morbius can hack Deathlock. He's so good with computers.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, Deathlock thinks all these reports of violence, never seen anything like this before. Guess I better do something. Okay, so you mean you need to be able to monitor information at a speed no mere human could hope to process to tell that something is going on in the city. Okay. I mean, I assume he's in New York, right? So just turn on the damn TV.
Yeah.
Look out the window. But fortunately, because he can process information at a speed no mere human could hope to process, he's figured out that something is going on because he's smart. Anyway, Spider-Man and friends make it to the Baxter Building, which was damaged in an explosion during an event known as...
Oh, what was it?
It should be 2 words that are just at the top of your lips because it was the conclusion of a massive 20-something movie event over 12 years. Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
It was Infinity War number 2.
Got it.
Right. All right. Anyway, so they go after the sonic gun, but before that all happens, we have a 14-page ad.
Oh God, 14-page?
For some dumbass X-Man event.
Here, pull it up. I don't have this on Unlimited. Look, what do we got? 14 pages?
I have the actual rotting wood pulp here, Brad. Oh my God. So here's this, and
what the heck?
More and just right in the middle. I mean, I don't even know what this is advertising. I can't even.
It looks like they cut and paste Marvel Age.
Apocalypse. It looks like Age of Apocalypse.
It's
what's the story called?
I don't know. I really, literally, I can't tell.
Was that when the West Coast Avengers teamed up with the X-Men? That might be what it is.
I don't know. There's like Thor's stupid brother Thunderstrike, or is that Thor, or is that Thunder?
Well, that's Thunderstrike.
Yeah,
I like Thunderstrike.
And then there's just like this weird guy. Who's this weird guy? Galactus with a skull on his chest or something? I don't get it.
That's Grim Reaper.
Oh,
yeah, that's Wonder Man's brother.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mephisto. Can't forget Mephisto. See Mephisto. Yeah.
Yep,
but it's like I have no idea what this is. It doesn't. It's like quotes by a bunch of people, and then we got a 2-page ad for the Hunt for Magneto contest for Sega. Oh my God! And then we get back to the story. All right.
Okay.
So we go to Queens, where May Parker and Robot Dad are on the street. And Robot Dad tells May that he wished she'd waited till next week to deposit her Social Security check. And it's like, and I was thinking, well, wait a minute, who the hell gets a paper Social Security check? So I did some research, and unfortunately, people were still receiving paper checks up to 2011.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Jeez. So I guess, so here I was about to talk, and then it's like, come on, I was getting my paycheck direct deposited before 1993. Anyway,
I remember at the time, because I remember reading an article about this, and I can't remember where now, but I remember they were saying that that moving away from paper, because number one, everything else was going electronic anyway. Mm-hmm. But they felt that it would cut down on fraud.
Yeah. Because fortunately, nobody's smart enough to get into the computer, are they? Once it's in a computer, it's safe. So, anyway.
So May Parker and Robot Dad.
Anyway, May Parker and Robot Dad. I mean, we don't know that he's Robot Dad, but he's Robot Dad. Okay. I mean, this dude's wearing a tie, and he's going to assault Aunt May, but, Robot Dad is there to save the day, and he smacks him with something or other.
Robot Spy Dad.
Yeah. And so Robot Dad says, wow, May, you're always talking about the good in humanity, huh? How good was this guy? Huh? You want to give him another chance? Huh? See, I was right. Everybody's crazy. All right. So finally, I guess all this madness has reached the outer boroughs. Because remember, in the previous issues, both Peter and Mary Jane at separate times left Manhattan to go to Queens. And at neither time did either May or Robot Dad ask them, what the heck is going on in Manhattan Island? Of course. Anyway, well, back in Midtown, the Carnage gang is racking up more body counts because, I don't know, people are still wandering in the streets when the island should be on total lockdown. But why quibble? And after all, now Deathlock shows up with guns a-blazing. and let's go to Deathlock here for a minute.
I got him. there he is.
Okay, it took a while to analyze data from the city's emergency service network to locate the source of the horrors being committed. What do you mean it took a while to analyze the data from the city's emergency? Look out the damn window!
Yeah, could you not follow the screams or the trails of blood?
What? You know, I mean, are there
I love
not
it.
news
Hornacek's right. He's looking at, he's on dial-up on AOL in '93. That's why it took so damn long.
It's like he's got to plug it. He's got to plug it. All he should do is just open the window and listen to everybody screaming and listen to the.
He's Richard Parker trying to send a video from an airplane to a Windows 95 box.
That's right. Oh my God.
I will never get over that. Oh my God, that was. That was so. That moment was almost zen for me when I realized that, because I'd been working in computers for a long time, and and even when I wasn't, I had a good sense of connectivity, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, yeah, it would take him like from being in the air like 8-9 hours to download that video to like the Windows 95 box if it didn't stop 75% of the way through.
Yeah.
Because I remember how long it took me to render video back then. Jesus Christ!
Oh, it's funny because I remember, for example, when some of the Star Trek fan films started coming out first, and James Cawley group, and they had just released the one really good one with George Takei, so it's like, I'll set this up to download and I'll come back tomorrow morning and it'll be there. No, it wasn't. It was. I had to wait. I had to go to work and come back from work before it was finally waiting for me.
JR, two issues left. 20 minutes left. Go.
Oh, you're getting close to the buzzer.
Come on.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter how far I get here, because then the next part I've got all the time in the world.
You do.
So anyway,
you have a lot of time.
All right. Unfortunately, Deathlock is taken down by the bad guys, while the good guys break into the Baxter building, grab Reed Richards' sonic blaster. When all of a sudden, Cloak finds him, and he's got Firestar with him. Firestar, who is at Warriors HQ, all by herself, of course. Okay. Now, first of all, where is Warriors HQ? I mean, I don't know, but
in New York.
In New York. She says Cloak showed up and gave me a quick rundown of what was going on. So I want to help any way I can. What do you mean Cloak gave you a rundown? Cloak had to give you a rundown? You're at Warriors HQ and you're not monitoring something? What are you doing at Warriors HQ? Are you doing the dishes? Mopping the floor? Cleaning out the toilet?
She's playing Maximum Carnage on Sega Genesis.
Look how disappointed Felicia is that Firestar showed up. Look at this. She's
well, it must be cold too.
Oh, that poor girl.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Felicia say, guys, notice me, guys. Come on, notice me. But it's like, I was at Warriors HQ all by myself, of course. And Cloak just told me what was going on because I wasn't doing any monitoring of the situation. And by the way, I'm not going to call any of the other new Warriors. So, okay,
I mean, what were the new Warriors going to do anyway? They really weren't all that great.
Speedball, Night Thrasher.
Yeah, they made a big impression during Maximum Clonage. See, they can show up for Maximum Clonage, but they can't show up for Maximum Carnage. What a bunch of losers.
As if you wanted 5-6 more people in this book, JR. Come on.
All right.
Thank Michelini for that.
Probably what was happening, Firestar was probably monitoring and watching. She was eating popcorn or whatever. And then, Cloak shows up and says, great. Now I guess I gotta go help. Anyway, so with a group of 5 now, because it's only 5 because Morbius is taking his daylight snooze, vampire thing and all. All right. They go after Carnage, and they make a comment that, Spider-Man says, well, science is now on their side. And we go to a scene of Deathlock hanging in Times Square, by the Carnage group, like they're charging him up for something, or they're going to use him for something, because Spider makes a reference of, we have science on our side now. Okay. So it looks like the Carnage group is going to use this cybernetic Superman, warrior to help them. That's the impression you get, but that doesn't happen. Anyway, so so that's the end of it, part 7. So 7 down, 7 to go. We're having.
Oh God! Will you make it to the end?
Oh my God! So, Spider-Man number 36, and Venom it's no more Mr. Nice Venom.
Got it. There it is. There it is.
Oh my God. So we start off at the Daily Bugle, which is really funny because written by Terry Cavanaugh, of course.
Oh no.
All right. When it starts off by saying when brutal serial killer Cletus Cassidy, aka Carnage, first made his bloody escape from Ravencroft Hospital, New York locked up tight.
Yeah, right.
No,
Tell that to the nightclub.
No, he didn't. What the hell? Yeah. Have you even read your own writing? You know? I mean, everybody's been out in the streets partying and going to restaurants and going to lawyers' offices, you know, or going.
Firestar didn't even know what the hell was going on.
Or they're going to Queens to visit Aunt May.
And you know, Terry Cavanaugh wrote that web with the party.
But he wrote the part 6 where Mary Jane was at the party. But he says here New York is locked up tight.
No.
Anyway, and Ben Urich tells JJJ, oh, there's downtown looting, uptown rioting, wilding in Central Park. The entire city's under siege. Yeah, it is. I guess you wouldn't. I don't know. I mean, obviously, because nobody really knows. Firestar doesn't know she's hanging out in Warriors HQ, and Cloak has to tell her what's going on. Deathlock has to plug himself into the city's information network, you know, to try to figure out what's going on. You know, so I don't know. You know, wow. Anyway. So JJ walks into his office and finds the Spider friends there, and they want him to print a story in the Daily Bugle to bait Carnage into a trap. JJJ tells him to screw off, you know, that Carnage was there the other day making demands, but changes his mind when Venom starts slurping. All right. The next panel has a pedestrian standing on the corner of 52nd Street reading the paper. Yeah, all right. New York's locked down, all right. This dude just reading the paper on the yep. Carnage.
Maybe he's the coroner. Yeah. Going into work.
Well, maybe this will convince the authorities to show up. All right. The scene switches to the Soho loft of Peter Parker, the man under the Spider-Man mask. In the event, you didn't know that already. Okay, yeah. That Peter Parker, Spider-Man. All right, and this is Soho, which remains one of the few pockets of peace left on the beleaguered island of Manhattan. I don't think there'd be any pockets of peace, but whatever. All right, well, it turns out that Aunt May and robot parents have just taken a cab in from Forest Hills. How? Emergency vehicles only would be allowed on the streets by this time. Okay, but how would you be able to take a cab from Forest Hills to New York to Midtown with this going on? You know, I mean, I know New York cab drivers are crazy. Like Jerry Seinfeld once said, they'll take chances with your life for $3 that you wouldn't for $3,000. But I mean, come on. Anyway, so they encounter a bunch of thugs who tell these geezers the street belongs to them and they got to pay the street tax. But that's before Flash Thompson, man of action, and
Agent Venom.
Man. You know, I mean, the dude is tank top man. All right. Wife beater man, because he's wearing his white beater. All right. And Molten Man jump into action and take down the punks. And Mark Raxton proclaims the building is under the protection of the Molten Man. Yeah. Well, Flash is there because he just happened to be in the neighborhood, of course, looking for Felicia Hardy, remember Flash was dating Felicia. And but Felicia hasn't been heard from in days. Okay, so this has been going on for days. Okay, just so you know, this isn't like in a short time window where maybe superheroes really were doing something else and couldn't get to New York.
I don't remember Team Spidey stopping to go to sleep at any point.
Oh, they do though. I mean,
they do.
Apparently they do, because it's like day comes in the night and night goes in the day or whatever. And
there you go.
I remember like going from one massive pointless fight to the next.
Well, I guess Peter, and Peter needs to rest his cracked ribs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. This has been going on for a long time, because even Eddie Brock flew in from San Francisco to New York. Okay. And you just don't fly. I mean, anybody you flew, it takes like 3-4 hours to fly. And then you got the waits in the airport and stuff like that. Eddie Brock can make it in time for, to join the fight, but no other superhero can.
Eddie Brock just flew in, and boy, are his arms tired.
But okay. All right. Well, the Carnage gang have themselves made their way to the Brooklyn orphanage where Cletus Cassidy were raised, and we get a little, Cletus thinking about just, he's a serial killer because people were mean to him. Wah, wah, wah. All right. We go back to Times Square where Deathlock is still hanging up on a sign with all sorts of power surging. And the city workers can't turn it off. They can't get him down because there's a continuous feedback loop between Deathlock's energy circuits and the neon sign, which prevents the authorities from even turning off the power. But then all of a sudden, a glowing fist. Who do you think this is? Glowing fist. Brad, show us the glowing fist. Come
on. The glowing fist would be one of George's favorites. Iron Fist.
Yes.
It is Finn Jones to the rescue. All right.
No, it's not. That's not. No, that's not.
Finn Jones.
Right. Finn Jones takes down Deathlock.
It's not.
And
Finn
we go
Jones.
back to the Brooklyn orphanage where Spider-Man and friends now confront the Carnage family in 4 pages of fighting. All right. Morbius now shows up to the party because I guess it's dark now.
Yeah, he can come out.
Without the file that he supposedly printed on Shriek. I guess they don't need it now. All right.
Maybe he memorized it.
Maybe he did. So, I mean, after all, he's a biologist, a vampire, a computer hacker. He can type with big, long nails.
But he can't take a shark.
No, he's vulnerable to sharks.
Yeah.
But Carnage is unaffected by the sonic gun. How is that possible? But Firestar's microwave heat is able to weaken him, and the symbiote seems to melt off Cassidy's body. Venom goes in for the kill, and Spider-Man stops him saying, "There have to be limits, Venom." Now, if you're a comic book reader, you have had enough of Spider-Man yourself by this point in time. Well,
I mean, that's what Peter Parker would say. This is 100% true with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is consistent with the character.
I guess it is, but I still think it's bad writing. I mean, to make your character look like this much of a whiny, man, whatever. I
mean, Batman would do the same. Superman would do the same.
Punisher wouldn't.
No, Punisher, Wolverine, no. But
okay. So Shriek slaps sense into Cassidy, and the Carnage symbiote, which is now permanently bonded into Cassidy, regenerates, and that's the end of part 8. 8 down, 6 to go, and we have another ad for Zit Fighters. Okay,
Zit
all
Fighters.
Right. Now this time, kids, though, grab your Stridex pads and be a Zit Fighter. And get your own X-Men collector's comic by sending in 1 proof of purchase from any Stridex product.
Oh my God.
$1 to Stridex, P.O. Box 1233, Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Allows 6 to 8 weeks for delivery.
Can you hold up that what the comic looks like? Because I think I mailed off for that.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I've got that.
You emailed off for the X-Men special Zit issue?
I was 18. I had the
You were
Zit
18?
Yeah, 93. I was 18.
I had Zits at 18.
I had Zits at 18. I had that Stridex. I'm like, I'm going to cut it off and I'm going to mail off and get an X-Men
because
comic.
I need my X-Men Zit story.
Spider-Man fights a Zit. I mean, X-Men fight the Zits.
All right.
Adam says, send in proof of purchase and 1 Zit and $1.50.
You really will. We use it as a meme on here. You will buy damn anything.
I bought a Zit comic.
I'm not even amazed. I mean, it all rings true. I'm just.
Oh my God.
I need to know why.
Brad and his free Spider-Man Stridex X-Men tie-in comic.
Wow.
Okay, last one. You got 13 minutes.
I got 11 minutes to do this.
Okay.
Spectacular 202. The issue opens with Carnage gleefully gloating over his apparent inability to be stopped. Venom, Morbius, and Cloak rush in head on to take on the bad guys, and Firestar and Spider-Man are having a crisis of confidence, whereas Firestar says, "Who are we working with? Nothing justifies these methods." Before the Black Cat reminds the two of them just how bad things are. And she says, Carnage and his crew have turned this city on its head. Dozens of people have been slaughtered. No. Remember, 84 people were killed just when Carnage escaped from Ravencroft in the very first issue.
I mean,
that was dozens of people.
Technically, JR 84 is dozens.
Yeah, it was dozens back then. But since then, remember, bodies lined the sidewalks in Central Park like kitty litter. Carrion was drifting over blood-stained streets of downtown Manhattan. Dozens was days ago. We are now in the hundreds, if not thousands. You know, I would say Marvel is trying to walk back this story. What, you know, oh my God, maybe we've made it too violent. But again, that presumes editorial was actually paying attention to anything in this issue anyway. But it's like, I just can't believe it. It's like, oh, dozens of people have been killed. Are you kidding? Almost 100 were killed just in Ravencroft in the first issue. Right. I mean, we passed dozens ages ago. Anyway, the scene switches to Soho, where Mary Jane has already gone through nearly as many cigarettes as George used to do in a night playing D&D.
Let's take a look at this splash panel. The commenters were saying that it's interesting to see, or Adam said it's interesting to see Sal Buscema draw Venom and Carnage. He didn't do that much in his run, but he did it here. And look at that splash panel. Just beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Love that.
The Morbius movie has not come out yet, no.
Yeah, our pal Sal indeed.
Someone was off topic. Yeah, Parker Luck. What's that? Matt Bird. Yeah. It hasn't come out. It hasn't come out yet. So
it's not gonna come out for a while, I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe 5. Yeah, tell me how it is, because I ain't gonna go see it.
I'm not gonna see it.
I will. I'm going to bring my Zit
comic.
See
anything. You buy a Zit comic and you go see anything. Anyway, look at all those cigarettes. Like
look at those cigs.
That's more. You know, she's smoking
George,
more cigarettes.
How long would that take you to get through there? Right there. How many hours?
I think George can do that in about 5 minutes.
That's 3 podcasts right there, isn't it?
back when I used to smoke like I don't know, like 3 an hour maybe.
Oh wow.
So, anyways, the scene. You know, Mary Jane's there smoking, and she's kvetching that Peter made her a promise that he wouldn't go out playing Spider-Man for a week. 1 stinking week. Again, I don't know. I don't get this. But then she says, "Oh, Peter, please don't die." Okay, so again, it's like, so, you know, like no other superhero showing up, you know, hundreds, thousands of people are getting killed, and you're mad because he couldn't stop being Spider-Man for this. I don't know what's going on. You know, the writer was J.M.D. Mateus, who, frankly, I usually felt was a pretty good writer outside his psychology when he tries to play amateur psychiatrist in his early Marvel team-up work. Well, now we get something of an explanation for why the good citizens in New York are acting even more wackier than usual. It turns out during a confrontation between Shriek and Cloak, Shriek claims that Cloak sucked her into his cloak when she was just a normal rock groupie on drugs, and the experience turned her into Shriek. And now she's able to broadcast her lunacy outside herself and affect the people around her. But hanging out with Carnage has amped it up. Like she says, Carnage is the battery and I'm the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Black Cat.
What? Well, one more time. Can you say that line? What was that line?
I'm not making this up. No, I'm not making this up. Carnage is the battery, and I'm the radio. What panel is that?
I'm trying to find what panel that is. Carnage is the battery. Where is the panel? What is it? Help me.
Hit me.
Carnage is the... That is so funny. Oh, she bites Cloak. Man, she's mean.
Yeah, she is.
Well, I mean, she's been murdering people for like.
Oh yeah, that right there, Brad. Where you see her and her hand is up and she's looking at the people in the bottom in the corner.
Oh, okay, it's over. Oh, there it is.
I've been able to Carnage is the battery. I'm the radio,
and together
we make tunes.
Oh my gosh!
All right. Black Cat and Morbius fall to the mob and to Demogoblin, and once again Firestar zaps Carnage, and this time it's pretty clear Carnage is deathly afraid of her power, and he runs away. So Venom realizes that even though Carnage regenerated the last time, She zapped him. The solution is to keep zapping him to the point where he can't regenerate and not to let up until he's dead. And Venom says, you're going to cook him and cook him till there's nothing left but a little red smear on the grass. And, of course, Firestar and Spider-Man said, no, there's got to be another way. And Venom brings up there is no other way. So Spider-Man finally gives in, or as D. Mateus describes him, he's a broken, desperate man. So he tells Firestar what to do, and she complies. Well, Firestar starts zapping Carnage and has him on the ropes before Spider-Man just can't take it anymore and tells her to stop.
You've gone too far when even Spider-Man says, I think you need to die.
In the name of God, stop!
Yeah, but I will say this. The situation is not helped by Venom sitting there going, cookie. I mean,
brains.
That's literally what he's doing. Cooking, kill him. So, I guess that would get old too. Make him suffer, make him burn. I mean, like Donald Sutherland in Backdraft, So
wow, jeez,
boy, that's a deep cut. Damn,
you guys must have saw Backdraft, right? Right?
Yeah, but good God, it's been 30 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've slept since then.
God.
What are you gonna? What? See this little girl? What did you do to her? I burned her. What would you do if you got out? I burned her again. What would you do to the world, Ronald? Burn it all. See you next year, Ronald. Anyway, so Firestar stops. Venom is so mad he attacks Firestar. So Spider-Man jumps in and starts throwing down with Venom, but Venom knocks him all the way to Pennsylvania. Carnage revives.
Look at that.
Yeah, Carnage revives, and Shriek fries Venom with enough sonic blast to weaken the symbiote and turn him back into Eddie Brock. And not only that, wait a minute. I was about to say, Eddie, obviously, in the same time that Morbius had time to go get his nails done, Eddie had time to get his mullet cut because he doesn't have his mullet anymore. So he went back to his military style haircut. So yeah, you ask if people were going to bed, George. Well, obviously Eddie had time to go get a haircut. Anyway, so Eddie falls to the combined might of Shriek and Carnage. They run off with Brock so they can conduct some good old-fashioned torture. They also grab Reed Richards' Sonic Blaster along the way. So all of our heroes are laying on the grass drooling, and Spider-Man tries to pick himself up when he hears, "How about a hand, son? You look like you could use one."
Yeah.
And in a Playboy style spread, because in order to see it, you got to hold the comic like this, So in a Playboy style spread.
There you go. It's 2 pages.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Playboy style spread. Captain America reaches out to Spider-Man, and we just know that things are going to get better from here. 9 down, 5 to go, and 2 minutes before the hour.
You did it. Real quick. We'll take some real quick questions before we hit the part 3. Mike says it's so nice to see Sal Buscema's art again at the height of his power. One of my favorites. Buscema's Venom is really good. Backdraft does have a great cast.
It did. It
was Matt says when Venom's the one making the most sense, the story's jumped the shark.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. Here's the thing: you should not be agreeing with Venom. And again, that's the point I make. Like, we don't want Spider-Man to kill. That's not what Spider-Man does. That's not what Spider-Man believes in. But boy, this story is making it hard to sympathize with Spider-Man.
Even Spider-Man is like, dude, no, we have to kill him.
Yeah. Adam says at this point, Peter would probably see the need to kill off Cassidy. Yeah. Adam's also looking forward to how they're going to do Shriek in the Venom 2 movie. She was in the trailer. Did you fellas see the trailer of Venom 2 with Shriek in it?
Oh, hell no.
Why would you think I would watch that?
Because you're Spider-Man fans.
But we're not Venom fans.
Spider-Man. That's not Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's not in the movie. We don't care. God, you'll watch anything. Buy anything.
Zit Comics. I have to admit, Cap showing up at the end of the issue was a big thrill to my younger self. I would agree. And to see Sal Buscema draw Cap again.
A boring childhood.
No, man.
No, it was a cool moment, but at the same time, I mean, like,
where's he been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was you getting a sandwich? Did you go out for Chinese food on the other side of the world?
Did you guys ever read Sal Buscema and Steve Englehart's Cap in the 70s? They had a great run. And it's good to see Sal's drawing of Cap one more time. So, all right, we will. George, unfortunately, has to tap out. He is falling asleep.
Not again! No!
The fans want him to stay up, but he will be passed out and snoring if we aren't careful.
George, I can't do it without you. My heart's going to give out. Someone has to pick up for me when I have a heart attack during the next part.
Reach out to Cap's hand, George.
dude, I worked 11 hours a day. I'm done. I'm cashed.
All right, we will be back in just a few minutes. Here we go.
Good night.